Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Do you want some coffee, Mr. Tully?
Do I? Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. We made
What
it.
the-
Small.
What happened? Hold on.
Cool.
Oh my God. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Craig Goldberg. Welcome to Yes Have Some podcast live here on a Monday night. Thank you. Whether you're joining us live or after the fact on the podcast feed or on our YouTube channel, we appreciate you being here. Oh, the weekend is over. The week is here, but we're going to have some fun tonight because we have a fun topic. But before we get into that, we got to say hi to our co-hosts. Jacob Walsh, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Just hanging out, dealing with a Monday, and all of the feelings that come with a Monday. But I'm good.
Where are you on the names on the Coke bottles? This is my most basic tendency. Like, listen,
Wait, what are you talking about?
you know how like once a year Coke bottles have names on them, like people's
Yeah.
first names? I just get really excited when I see someone's name of someone I know, and I always send them a picture. And I feel like
Oh
we all
my
have
God.
basic bitch things about us.
Yeah, and
I think that's one of
definitely. I was about to say that's definitely number 347 on your list.
Yeah, and at least
Right
you were
after
aware of
my
it.
big cup of vanilla ice cream.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. When you first started that story and asked that, I was like, what a weird, dumb thing. Who cares? But then as I was thinking about it, I thought, I got a Coke yesterday and looked through the cooler until I found one that didn't have a name on it.
Oh,
So you wanted an older
that's
one.
good, Jake.
I was like, I don't want someone else's fucking
One
get
that'd
these
been there for
fucking
a while.
duh-
Okay.
Get these stupid names off my Coke.
I don't know these people. I don't know these Cokes.
Hey, like Coke needs
Oh.
Coke needs some sort of marketing ploy to get people to buy Coke. It's
They need it.
probably the best selling drink in the history of the fucking planet. Just put Coke out there.
Yeah, but imagine if it said Charles on it or Jennifer. All right.
No.
Well, I like it. And if you guys are with me, let me know. I haven't found a Craig yet. I find Abigail all the time. And this was huge
big
today.
one.
I found a
Because
Jack
there's a
and
lot
Jill.
of Craigs out. That's because there's a lot of Craigs out there looking
No.
for their name.
I
Abigail.
looked it up. My name has not broken the top 100 baby names since like 1983 or something like that.
Wow.
It's an
Okay.
old
Let's change
name.
that. Let's do what we can do to change that.
Tonight,
So all
if
the,
you can
all the
prove
1984 Craigs are buying the Craigs.
No,
That's
no.
what's happening.
If you can prove that you are going to name your kid Craig, I'll send you a Coke. Abigail, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I've gotten the Coke bottle because Abigail is a popular name out there. Zach Myers sent me a picture when I was in Japan of a Coke bottle that he found that said Abigail, and he's like, "Hey, I know you're out there having the time of your life, seeing things you've never seen before, never will again. But here's a Coke bottle with your name
Here's
on
a
it."
Coke
Your
bottle
name.
from
Look, it's your
Perry,
name.
Georgia.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I think
I-
the marketing's working, is what I'll say for that. I'm not gonna say I love it, but it works.
It works for me because names are it's the only way we can identify each other. How else am I going to separate? I don't even know who's who out there. Okay. So listen, guys, thanks for being a part of Yes Have Some. We've got some fun stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about what the rest of the year looks like for us. And just a little housekeeping here at the top. We have Ghostbusters Day coming up in June. So as of right now, our plan is to be out in New York at Ghostbusters Day. More details on that soon. But if you're going to go out to the big event at the Firehouse, you might see a Jacob Walsh. You might see an Abigail Gardner. And don't even think about looking at me in the eye unless you have a Coke bottle with my name on it. Coke Zero, preferably. So fun stuff. And then we've got Comic-Con coming up. And
I'm gonna take over for the Elise brothers and
well,
Yeah?
sing their song for them.
You're gonna play it?
no, listen, they're saving the day on rotation, on the hour, every hour. They're saving the day. It's gonna be great. So we got that. We got San Diego Comic-Con, and more fun stuff planned. I don't want to get too far
G
ahead of
Fest,
ourselves. G Fest,
hmm
Designer Con, New York
Comic
Comic Con,
Con.
maybe. I don't know. There's just so much happening. Well, we just
hmm
gotta.
Yeah.
It's too much. But excited about all that. I did want to point everybody to the Yes Have Some Patreon. We brought back Extreme Toy Anxiety last week. Going to do it again tomorrow night. So if you want additional bonus content every month, you can sign up at patreon.com/yes have some. Where Abby, they also get exclusive access to the YHS Discord, which is fun. Do you agree?
hmm Oh, I totally agree. It's awesome. It's a great place. It's not Facebook, first off. It's
It
Discord,
isn't.
so it's a little bit safer, less toxic. And yeah, it's where you can hang out with the people who are in the comments right now, who are all wonderful, and I'm happy to see you here.
Facebook's gnarly. Oh, what a
Yeah.
horrible thing. Let's not
Yeah.
even talk about it. So tonight, so what we've been doing, Jacob, we've been kind of mapping out as we're in this period of time where we've got some big movie releases coming out this summer. We're all taking on different kinds of content. Ghostbusters is in a little bit of a lull. So we thought it'd be fun to map out some really fun topics and things that we want to cover. And tonight we're going to talk about some of our least favorite sequels of all time, some of the worst of the worst.
hmm
I've been excited about this all day. But as I peruse other lists, I realize there's a lot of sequels out there that I never even knew existed and haven't seen. So this is going to be a very personal
Really?
list. Well, yeah, like
I want to hear what those are.
like Police Academy 2 through
Yeah.
7.
Because I was looking at and
You didn't know
referencing
there were more Police Academy movies?
all
Well, I
of them
did,
are on the
but
bad
I haven't
list.
seen all of them, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I haven't seen every sequel.
Yeah.
But I think we all kind of made lists of movies that we were maybe excited about, hyped about, or have seen that just really did not live up to the potential of what the original did. So we're gonna do a little bit of that. But I kind of wanted to start it off with just like we've talked about. I feel like sequel discussion is something we've talked about a lot on this podcast. I'm still a sucker personally for if a movie I really like, when a sequel gets announced, I still get like, it still feels like, oh, the potential is there. I get to see all my favorite characters. I think it comes from as a kid, like Ghostbusters 2 and Back to the Future 2 and 3. Like, I can't believe they're coming back. Like, I still personally get really excited about sequels, even though, Jake, do you feel like it's been like diminishing returns? Like, do you remember the last time you sat and watched a sequel and were just completely like, they did it? It's been a while, right?
It doesn't happen a ton. Here and there it does, but it is usually not great. And then it also like I got a lot of like horror movies on my list, and I was thinking about it, and it's kind of like with horror movies, a sequel is almost always just a given. And
Right.
in a lot of those movies, it's like you kind of, even if they're bad, you give them a pass. It's like, there's like 10 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and even though the first one is like amazing, I didn't put any of those other ones on the list because it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Put 10 Nightmare on Elm Street movies on here? Like, you're just kind of like, well, it's probably not going to be great. But I did single out a couple horror movie sequels that I thought were particularly bad, and maybe the originals were, maybe known to be to reach out beyond the
Be good
scope of
source
just
material.
being a horror movie. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's how I took this when it came to breaking down some of my least favorite sequels. I was thinking about like which sequels personally offended me most. Like, as in I liked the original material and I was expecting more. And when a sequel like really lets me down and really misses the mark and causes me like internal conflict, those are the ones that I included on my list.
Okay, cool. So couple ground rules, not that we have rules, but we're talking sequels. So remakes, reboots, not really part of this discussion. We're talking about original narrative being continued. Doesn't have to be the second movie of a series, could be the fifth movie of a series, but in that original continuity. Now it could be a sequel to a remake, which could come up. Which there's some of that out there.
Mhm.
And I kept finding myself, I don't know about you guys, as I was thinking about this today, I was like, man, I kept thinking about what makes a great sequel. And I was like, okay, we need to save that for the companion episode that we're going to do, which is
Best
the
sequels.
best sequels of all time.
Best sequels.
So
Okay.
let's
Yeah.
just focus on what are the, before we start, are there any specific ingredients, if you're looking at your list before we even reveal these, what are the ingredients that add up to make a surefire bad viewing experience as a sequel? Is there any common thread that because I feel like I have a couple. Abby, did you come up with any?
Yeah, I mean, I can just right off the top of my head, characters acting out of character and being
Ooh.
different is one major thing. I can reference a movie that's not on my list that has that. The
Okay,
Lost
yeah.
World.
Oh.
Jeff Goldblum. It's totally different. Not as like flirtatious and confident and funny, much more like kind of melancholy and in a weird place in life. And for me, like that's a thing because the characters are the most important thing in the story to me. I like to feel like I can get behind what they're doing and their motivation.
Sure.
So when a character is just like 100% different from the way they were in the first, that's something that really pisses me off.
Okay, but just for reference, Lost World is not on your list. I
No,
like
because
Lost World.
I considered it. It's definitely on a lot of people's like worst sequels list, but there's too much good in that and too much that I really like.
Okay.
And yeah, I've rewatched it enough, and it's become a part of my like grouping of movies that I like from the Jurassic universe.
Okay, cool. That's a good
Mhm.
one. So like characters kind of like taking a weird turn in like their performance, but not for any specific reason other than maybe like it's always weird, especially in legacy sequels, when you're like when characters come back and you're like, you're not quite really capturing it like you did 30 years ago, which I get that that's hard. Jacob, is there any common threads in yours?
I mean, like kind of what Abby said, but also like reaching too much, like trying too hard,
Mhm.
negating something from the original film because it seems like
yeah.
they're just not paying attention, stuff
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm actually really kind of geared up and interested to see what we came up with. Jacob, do you want to start us off?
Sure. I will say my first movies are not The Lost World, not Jurassic Park 3, but all three of the Jurassic World movies.
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay.
They're all bad sequels.
Oh. Okay.
What do you mean? Is that surprising to you?
No, I mean two of the three are to me almost unwatchable.
Well, listen, the first Jurassic World as a movie, it's fine. It's watchable. I've enjoyed it. I've rewatched it. It's okay. But it's not a good Jurassic Park sequel.
Okay.
Mhm.
No,
None of those movies are.
Okay. I have mixed feelings on Jurassic World, the first one, 2014. It was a movie I was super excited about. I think we all were. I think we all saw it together.
We did.
Abby, I remember you had some pretty strong opinions about that movie. Have you wavered on that a little bit over time? Like, where are you on Chris Pratt, Jurassic World 2014?
It's like one of those things, like what I was just talking about, where like I became really enamored with and loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2, which we'll talk about on the best of list. But Chris Pratt was somebody that I was like, I was so all about before Jurassic World came out. That his character was not likable to me. It was annoying. I didn't get behind the romance between him and Bryce Dallas Howard, and I recall being really like upset by Bryce Dallas Howard's like just I wasn't about her like uptight button up like I'm a businesswoman and these are my assets and I just need a guy to kind of like show me a good time. I didn't really get into that. And that's what made me want to write the thing that I wrote, which was definitely one of the first things where I was like, prior to podcasting, where I was like, hey, is anyone else upset by this? Am I the only one?
I remember that being a thing. You were like, I'm about to cause some stir the
I'm about
pot.
to post it. I'm getting on Facebook. About to post.
Jacob, yeah, I want you to kind of I think I know where you're coming from, but like specifically, especially once you get into like Fallen Kingdom and Dominion,
Yeah.
there's to me, and I don't want to speak for you, but to me, it loses its whatever that secret sauce that made the original Jurassic Park and the original subsequent sequels feel
Yeah.
special.
Well,
It
they're
just
not.
feels like
So they're not. Those movies aren't fun. They're not scary. They don't look good. The dinosaurs don't look good. Like the characters are all the thing that Jurassic Park really has going for it is for a movie full of dinosaurs, it's very realistic and feels like it's actually happening, and I believe every character in Jurassic Park, and it's so well written, and I love how like preachy it is about, you know, leaving animals alone and leaving nature alone, and and like having a lesson. It like
Mhm.
almost feels like old, Twilight Zone episodes where every single one has a lesson to teach you. And like the Tyrannosaur is terrifying still in the original Jurassic Park, and Jurassic World is like sterile feeling, and it's like shiny, and everything is the most boring color imaginable. Everything's just silver and gray, and the dinosaurs are stupid, and they look worse than they looked 30 years ago. Nothing is like, it's just like, oh, this has nothing that Jurassic Park has except the
right,
title, and it doesn't even have that. So, and it's like, oh, I was really excited. I like Bryce Dallas Howard, and I think she's fine in all three movies, but it's like, all three of those movies have a couple elements that I liked, that if you could like pull them all together, you could maybe make one pretty fun movie. But like they bring Alan Grant back. He's, Sam Neill's maybe my favorite actor of all time, and Alan Grant is like, a character that I wanted to like grow up to be like when I was a kid. And then they bring him back, and it suffers from what Abby said. Like he can't do an English accent, and or an American
Or
accent,
yeah,
and he
none.
like,
Yeah.
it's like they have those characters doing weird things. They feel forced. It's just the whole trilogy just feels like it's like a cash grab. There's no like
right,
genuine want or feeling to those movies. They just feel icky to
right.
me. They feel like,
Well,
I kind
and
of feel
also
gross for
Mhm.
watching them.
Yeah.
you could put on Jurassic World and be like, "Hey, what year was this made?" And it feels like a product of its time.
Yeah,
Um, even with the casting, Jurassic
right.
Park does not feel it feels timeless. First
Yeah.
of all, I mean, Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, like they're all like none of them are like franchise leaders, right? Like no one's like we're building a new Hollywood franchise and
Well,
it's
they
going
did
to
that
bring
on
in
purpose. Well, I mean,
right,
Steven
right,
Spielberg hired people like that because they come across as real people. They're all really good actors, but maybe
right.
people are a little unfamiliar with them. But we live in a world now where like if Chris Pratt or The Rock are not in your movie, nobody's going to go see it. And like Chris Pratt and The Rock might be the highest two paid actors in Hollywood. Hey, you know what? They're also the worst actors in Hollywood. Like both of them are not very
Dropping
good.
bombs already.
That's not a
Yeah.
bomb, dude. It's not a bomb to say The Rock can't
No.
act. He can't do anything other than the one thing he does. You know what I mean? Like Chris Pratt is charming in one mode. And if he's not doing that, he fucking sucks.
All right. I like it. I like where our heads are at. Um Dominion Fallen Kingdom has some interesting ideas, but I think we talked about it in depth when that movie came out. Like there's something weird about the pacing. blowing up the original island, having this really sad thing happen halfway through your movie, and then it moves into like this weird, like it tries to be like this psychological horror. There's an
Mhm.
auction. We're
Yeah.
cloning humans, maybe, and it's like we're really far away from where we started here. But and Dominion to me is unwatchable. Like I've tried, and like it's laughably bad.
Yeah.
I hate to
I
say it.
didn't put any Star Wars movies like specifically on my list, even though I could have. But to me, the Star Wars sequels and the Jurassic World movies kind of are very similar to me. Each movie has stuff that I think are good ideas, and I think they could have expanded on. All three movies are not super great. And then it's also like, they all feel like someone was like, we need to bring back Star Wars, hire a writer, hire a director, do it. Neither of those trilogies feel like somebody had a genuine plan,
Mhm.
none of them were Jason Reitman being like, oh my God,
I'm
I got a
inspired.
good idea
Right.
for Ghostbusters. It's just like hire somebody to make it. Like that's
Right.
how it feels.
So
Give them
but
money. Yes.
that's a great segue, and Abby, I'll give you the floor. I think there are some parallels there. Obviously, if you think about the original Star Wars and the original Jurassic Park, like these are movies. Uh, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, these are the visionary directors of a generation with commercial appeal. They are behind the most important, biggest movies and franchises and characters of a lifetime. Obviously, Hollywood is going to try to resurrect them and bring them back. But to be completely honest, Jurassic Park was was like a fucking giant book before it was ever a movie. And like Jake, we talked about it recently. There's this huge, studio, like every director wanted to get their hands on Jurassic Park because they saw the potential to do dinosaurs on screen for the first time in a long time and make it real. And Spielberg with ILM figured out how to do it, and it turns into this like generational event. That's really hard to. I almost feel like the better thing to do is to just try to go in a completely different direction.
Well, I think it's also a really weird take for Jurassic World to be like, people are bored with dinosaurs, so
I hate
we're
that.
gonna like that. To me is stupid. There's a lot of dinosaur movies out there, but there's never been a dinosaur movie other than Jurassic Park that feels like realistic. There's not any other movies where they tried to make you think dinosaurs were real. So it's like, hey, if you came out with a movie now, even though Jurassic Park exists, if you put as much work and effort into making your dinosaurs believable and scary and realistic, people would be into that. That's all you
Yeah.
need. You don't have to make up monsters to like
Right.
that whole narrative is
Yeah.
weak sauce.
It
Yeah, it
is.
goes against the mission, or I believe like the sentiment of the first movie of Jurassic Park to be like, people are bored of dinosaurs at this
Yeah.
point. Like you're really starting on the worst foot like possible with that kind of
Right.
storytelling.
Right.
I think that capturing the awe, the splendor, and like the chaos of it, and of human beings trying to like capture and like maintain that, and
It's
it going
almost
wrong
the-
is very much more interesting.
It's almost the opposite with Ghostbusters, because in Ghostbusters, like it's that people always have that idea, oh, the franchise has expanded, it's worldwide. I'm like, no, like that's not, to me, that's not what makes Ghostbusters interesting. Like the ghosts can't become too commonplace, just like the dinosaurs. We can't live in a world where people are just whatever about ghosts. It has to be fucking crazy. Otherwise, you take away like a big part of the appeal. So, but Abby, Jacob brought up Star Wars, so I wanted to kind of pivot to you because I think you might.
Sure. You want me to talk about my Star Wars that's on my list?
I do, well, because you clued me in that this was part of it. So
Yeah, sure. I was gonna work up to it.
oh,
but-
should we wait? Let's hold
Yeah,
off.
I would
Hold on.
say if I'm gonna have the floor, I'll choose to go with the first thing that I put on this list, which I was kind of working from 3, 2 to 1. So I put down terrible sequels I was personally offended by.
Yes.
And number 3 on my list, Jacob, you mentioned this. I have a feeling you kind of alluded to it. I don't know if it's on your list. We'll see. I have 2021's Halloween Kills, Danny McBride, David Gordon Green. That's the follow up to the remake that they did that was really successful, that I definitely enjoyed. That was Laurie Strode coming back as like in a Terminator 2, like Sarah Connor style. Like and her daughter's relationship was like a big part of the story. And the kills were really exciting. And I loved like the costume party. Like it felt very like believable. Like I just fell into the world and loved it. And for that reason, I was looking forward to Halloween Kills. And was extremely let down by the things that happen in the movie. There's a senseless suicide scene where like someone who's mistaken to be Michael Myers, like another inmate at the institution, like just jumps off of a ledge, and all the people like
It's
that.
really
I
weird.
took
Really
personal
weird.
offense to. I was just like that's not a fun statement on like mental health. I don't think it's it just seemed like an unnecessary kind of mean-spirited kill within there. And Michael Myers is supposed to, and in my opinion, in the first movie, do like fun babysitter kills, which you can argue all that like out, but I just remember watching that and being like, I don't want to walk out of this movie. That really pissed me off.
Because
you got
Evil
the-
dies tonight.
Yeah, that's the next thing. The town getting together to fight Michael Myers with the evil dies tonight. And Laurie Strode spends the entire movie in the hospital. And it's frustrating because like you want to see her be a badass. She's not. And the town getting together to like take down Michael Myers just seems like it was a weird direction to go. And I distinctly did not like it.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a good one.
Mhm.
What about Halloween Ends, which
That's my honorable mention.
okay.
Yeah,
Because-
I put that one down. When I was reading a little bit about the making of these, I read that they were initially supposed to be made like back to back or whatever, but there was like a COVID stall and such. So I understand. And I also need to say that Danny McBride is one of my favorite creators and writers and actors. And The Righteous Gemstones is my favorite piece of media, I think probably of all time.
Yeah, it's
So-
the funniest thing.
Exactly. So that's where I was like, oh, he's doing it. This could be fucking great. And then I got
Mm.
Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends has the like fanboy that like wants to be Michael Myers and goes down and joins him in the sewer and fights him for his mask.
I think I want to
kills a
rewatch
homeless
that.
That
man.
movie's awful.
I want to
Garbage.
rewatch that.
Oh.
I forgot
There's
about all
like a
that.
kiss scene with Laurie's daughter. Is like there's a romantic
And Michael
thing.
Myers?
Not with Michael
don't
Myers, but with
remember.
the main guy. This guy is named Corey. He's
Corey.
like
Corey.
he had some trauma too, and then he wants to go be friends with Pennywise in the fucking sewer or something. Essentially, it feels like.
I didn't put any of the Halloween movies on my list because first of all, I think most of the Halloween sequels are bad.
Yeah.
Most of, all of, I don't know. They're not great.
Hey,
But
hey,
I find it really, really hard to talk about horror movie sequels just because, like I was saying earlier, I mean, how many fucking Halloween movies are there? How many Texas Chainsaw movies are there? There's like 7 Scream movies. How many Friday the 13th are they? Like it's just like a generally like accepted fact that those movies
there's going to be some
are
sequels,
going
yeah.
to have not good. Like, so it's hard for me to put those on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But I did hate all 3. I hated all 3 of those movies.
I
I
don't
thought
wanna-
all 3 were really bad.
I don't want to
Yeah.
pile on David Gordon Green, and I don't know if this is on anybody else's list, but
Did you do it? Talk about it.
it's not on
The
my
Body
list.
and the
but
Blood.
The Exorcist, David
Yeah,
Gordon
that
Green's Exorcist movie, which is a direct sequel, real bad, really not good.
Mhm.
I think we talked about that, and I think we did a whole episode on that.
Yeah. I don't
Jacob, well, but it's paving the way for Mike Flanagan Exorcist, so maybe all will be
sure.
okay.
Someone had to
um,
fuck it up.
The thing about horror sequels, so especially the ones that came out in the 80s, some of them are so campy that they turn into like a little bit of like, it's kind of fun to hate this. There's some charm. That's what I think a lot of people feel about like Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, and then Revenge of Michael Myers.
Yeah, those movies are fun.
Right.
You don't go into those movies like with a bunch of stakes, thinking like, well, it's the 4th Jurassic Park movie. You know, it's like you're just like, cool. It's Michael Myers. What's this going to be like? It's gonna
Like
be
I didn't go into Halloween Kills like, you know what? I think it's about time for Haddonfield to do something about this. Right?
Where
Who's
is
with
the
me?
town on this? Why
I-
haven't
I-
they done something?
I knew things were going south when they were like, surprise, Halloween ends straight to Peacock. And I was like, oh, we got the Peacock?
Yeah.
We got the Peacock?
Okay.
That must
You going
it
straight
must
to
be
Peacock?
so good. All right, let me do one. Abby, those are good picks. I like this.
Thanks.
Let me do one. Let me do it. I got one for you guys. Ready for this? Terminator Genesis.
Yes.
which one is
With
that?
a Y?
Yeah. First of all, it starts with the fact
Hello
that
with
they
the Y.
spelled. They were like, let's spell Genesis differently than it's ever been spelled. Put a
I
little
don't know
Y.
which movie this is.
Terminator Genesis is the movie with the
Jai
super
Courtney.
Jai Courtney. Sarah Connor is played by Amelia Clark.
Okay,
Craig,
so
maybe
it's
you
the
can
one.
pull up a poster
it's the-
image or something.
It's the one
Yeah, let me
with
get the picture.
what's the guy's name who plays John Connor? It's the one where John Connor's a robot.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Jai Courtney plays Kyle Reese. And they basically excuse me. I'm not gonna lie. I had an everything bagel pretzel situation today. I choked on some at work.
That's a
Some
lot
of
of
the
They
everything-
put everything in there. It's hard
You
not
want
to.
to? Yeah.
Some of the everything dust is still in my lungs, I think.
So you were eating pretzels, which are already dry and drain the water out of your body, but
Yes.
with everything bagel seeds and
Yeah.
dirt and whatever
It
is
was too
on that
much.
shit.
Dirt
You
is the
put
main
that dirt
ingredient.
on there.
I was like, man, get some of that dirt on there. I'm trying to get. I feel like if this Terminator Genesis poster might give my computer a virus. Hold on, which is part of the plot. I'll be honest, I've only seen the movie once, and like most Terminator sequels, I've gone into it with an open mind, thinking this could be huge, guys. So this is the movie that, if you recall, kind of does like a weird. Oh, I see what's happening here. Does a weird retcon where they basically mess with the timelines and are like, Sarah Connor was actually raised by the T-800 and like has an affinity for him, and it's supposed to be within the original timeline, but let's face it, Amelia Clark is no Linda Hamilton.
I remember this.
They
Yeah.
bring back the T-1000, but it's not the Robert Patrick T-1000. It's like a different guy.
It's a
Mhm.
completely different guy who's not even of the same
completely
like,
different
race, which is
Yeah.
weird. And it's
like,
I'm
if
not
you're gonna do
complaining
that, just
because-
make it a new
because it's
T-1000.
confusing. Yeah, it makes it
Mhm.
very confusing.
And then it, like, remember in the trailer, like Sarah Connor like rams him with a truck, and it says to, like, she's like, "Come with me if you want to live." To like,
Yeah.
it's just bad, like across the board bad. The timeline is confusing. They try to retcon, keep some stuff, don't keep the other stuff. They do like the de-aging on Arnold Schwarzenegger. Jason Clarke plays John Connor, and he's fine, I guess. But this was a time period you got to remember when Jai Courtney he had a lot of heat. Okay, Suicide Squad, wasn't he in that?
Yes.
This to me is like the perfect example of, you guys don't have enough of a good idea to keep like making. And you could, by the way, you could do Dark Fate and throw it in here as well, which was what they followed up with.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Found that to be
my small little clap back of this is that this movie is no better or worse than at least 3 other Terminator movies.
Mm-hmm. But you've got Terminator 2 being one of the best movies. And I think we'll
Sure.
probably
Terminator
talk
2 is one of
about
my favorite movies of all time.
companion
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so they turned John Connor into a villain. They reimagined Sarah Connor, and it just doesn't work because, like, when you have something as iconic as Terminator and Terminator 2, like, you could even say Terminator 3, like, it's not great, but it's okay. Salvation, Christian Bale's kind of its own thing. They've tried to reinvent this franchise so many times, and it's just not working. And it's surprising too, because it feels like there's enough there to do something interesting. And also, like, they changed the name of Skynet to Genesis. It's like, no, Skynet's the name. It's always been Skynet. What are we doing here? But I can't really speak on it too much more than that because I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters, and I'll probably never see it again. I remember there's a school bus. What they did in the school bus and what happens to it, don't really recall. So there you go. Terminator Genesis. Remember they call Arnold Pops though. He's
Pops.
he's
yeah.
Pops in that movie.
Oh, he's like fatherly,
That's so
right?
stupid.
All right,
Okay,
Jacob.
after we're done going through these, let's highlight some of the chat's thoughts because I think they're throwing
okay,
out good
cool.
stuff. Yeah.
Very cool.
Terminator 2. Here's a hot take. Terminator 2 was a fluke. It's the only good movie in the entire franchise.
It's a very hot take. We're
all watching the first Terminator before next week.
I love the first Terminator. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. When's the last time you actually went to go, I'm going to watch a Terminator movie and watched the first one? You watch part 2 every time. It is clearly much better than, like, the first one is fine.
No, it's
but
fun.
Part 2 makes it a better movie. Part 2 is the only.
Okay.
I mean, well, what I say goes, dude. I'm just saying.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't have Jai Courtney in it.
Mm.
I really I do love the first Terminator. I think it's like a really good example of like it's really rough around the edges. Like it was an indie movie. I like kind of the cyberpunk feel to it. You get Bill Paxton as a real punk rocker, which he obviously always was and always will be. I actually interesting. Sarah Connor's a completely different character in the second movie, but in that sense, it works. So, all right, Jacob, you got another one for us? Good stuff. So
yeah,
far.
real quick, since you were talking about Exorcist, I will say Exorcist 2 is really, really awful. And again, wouldn't normally even want to talk about bad horror films, but The Exorcist is one of the greatest movies of all time. Like, horror or not, The Exorcist is, it's up there in the conversation. And the second one is so bad. I mean, the second it's as bad as the new Exorcist movie that came out. It is so fucking trash.
I've never seen it.
It is so bad. But then The Exorcist 3 is really, like, I would put The Exorcist 3 on our best sequel list.
Okay.
It lives up. I wanted to talk a little bit about have you guys ever seen Night of the Living Dead?
The original?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
The black and white one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I own it.
Yeah.
It's like a groundbreaking.
Yeah, it's seminal. It's huge.
That movie's Have you ever seen the sequel, Dawn of the Dead?
In the mall, of course.
Yes,
mall.
yes. Love them all. The car in the mall.
That movie was known as also being sort of groundbreaking, amazing sequel. A lot of people consider it to be better than the first. A lot of people consider Dawn of the Dead to be the greatest zombie film of all time. Have you guys ever seen Day of the Dead, the sequel to Dawn of the Dead?
Absolutely. I went through a huge Romero phase in my late teens, so I had them all.
Day of the Dead is my personal favorite zombie movie.
It's really
of all
gross.
time.
It's got some
It's
gross
really
stuff.
cool. It's really bleak. It's really scary. All three of those movies, like, that's a perfect trilogy. They're very, very good. They're all scary. They all make you think about, like, real world things. There's, like, real stuff in there. They did a lot. They were very important in the world of horror. They did a lot to kind of, like, push the genre forward. And then, like, in 2005 or 6,
25 years later,
George Romero said, hell, I'll make another one. And he made this movie called Land of the Dead.
John Leguizamo.
And I rewatched this recently.
Okay. Was I right? Is he in that?
He is. John Leguizamo is in it. It is awful. And he also went on from Land of the Dead to make Diary of the Dead. And then he went on from Diary of the Dead to make Island of the Dead.
Survival.
They're all survival of the dead, something like that. They're all supposed to be in the same continuity, the same world. Everything he made past Day of the Dead is utter trash. And it's really sad because a lot of people, George Romero was amazing. He did a lot of great stuff. He's responsible for a lot of other, things outside of the Night of the Living Dead movies. He was a cool dude. He was like known to just be awesome and just be really nice. And he made 3 of like the most important horror movies in existence. And it's weird to me that he went on to also make like 3 of the worst that are in the. I have no idea what happened. I don't understand. He was very, some of the effects in the original trilogy of Night of the Living Dead were groundbreaking. He's responsible for like Greg Nicotero and a lot of those early effects guys coming up with like really gross, gags. Everything was practical in those first 3 films. There was no CGI back then. It was all you're looking at everything. And then Tom Savini. And then if you watch Land of the Dead, fucking CGI blood squips. The easiest thing to do, practical. It's just all CGI. The blood CGI. Everything is CGI. I'm like, this man like made a career out of saying fuck you to CGI and then just started doing it, and he just like made these dog shit movies. And I watched, like I just said, I watched Land and I watched Diary back to back recently, just out of curiosity because I hadn't seen either in a long time, and it's just a bummer, dude. There's such a stain.
Stark
So
contrast.
this happens with creators a lot. This happens in music.
This is why sorry to interrupt you. This is why Quentin Tarantino is like, I'm only doing 10.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Kevin Smith, I guess.
I mean, but it happens. I'm trying. There's great examples in music. Like there's groundbreaking bands whose first 2 or 3 albums are like
Weezer.
literally. Well, Weezer's a great example where like they made a couple albums that were like, oh, you guys have like done something that no one's ever done, and you defined a genre, and then like 20 years of utter bullshit, and it's like, how are you even the same
Beverly
people?
Hills.
Yeah.
Like, how is this? And I wonder with success or accolades, sometimes people just it's almost like the hunger goes away a little bit. And that's why there's always Tarantino's an anomaly. I think Steven Spielberg's, obviously you can't compare.
He's done a ton, and it's not all great.
Yeah, he stayed out of that category. Like he's kept higher up.
Right.
I mean, himself.
Listen, Francis Ford Coppola is one of the great directors of all time, and I still haven't seen Megalopolis, but by all accounts, not really good stuff. So, is that what the movie's called? Megalopolis?
That was a poorly reviewed film that recently came out.
Yeah.
Videopolis. No, that's the thing at Disney that that's the dance club.
Videopolis.
Right.
Go look that up if you want to watch something.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
a couple people in the chat are bringing up this is why Jerry Seinfeld quit making Seinfeld. And hey, anything Jerry Seinfeld has done in the last 25 years has not been like, remember that Pop-Tart movie? What happened there? That's the land of the dead of comedy.
Yeah. It's like, it's going to be, very frustrating. Very much a letdown.
Jacob, those are good picks. Abby, go for it.
Yeah. Well, listening to you talk, Jacob, makes me want to go back and watch the original trilogy. Like,
Please do.
In order.
Please
yeah,
do.
I think it'd be great.
You should, and we should talk about them because
we should talk about it. I think that's good.
You know, it'd be a fun thing to add to our topic list, like taking a movie that was great and a remake that was great. Like if we did both Dawn of the Deads, because the remake's kind of good. Surprisingly,
it's okay.
I saw it in the theater. Yeah. I would like to talk about it for sure and
all right,
tear it up.
Just tear it up a little bit.
I'll save my most emotionally disturbing film that was the hardest for me for last.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with something a little bit more fun. This is a terrible sequel that I somehow love and cherish. And it's not Ghostbusters 2, although everyone knows that's one of my favorite sequels and one of my favorite movies.
Well, it's also it's not a bad sequel though.
No, Ghostbusters 2 is a legitimately decent sequel with some great acting and some really great new characters and wonderful music and fun sequences and great one-liners. This movie that I'm about to bring up is the fifth in a series of movies. The first of which was a huge inspiration to me, probably like 5 years ago when I first saw it. I watched it during the winter time, and it really inspired me.
I'm trying to
And
guess. I'm trying
Me
to think in
too.
my
I'm trying to
head
figure
what
this
I
out.
know. It's like we made a little video actually referencing Linda Blair that was inspired by this first film.
Okay, I know where this is going.
Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
okay.
dun, 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 dun. Okay, I won't do
Yeah.
the whole song, but yeah, Rocky was my favorite. This Rocky 5, absolutely terrible. Like terribly. I don't know what was going on with the people writing it. They were confused.
I think
They
it's
don't-
called cocaine.
cocaine.
Are you? Hold on. I've only seen the first Rocky. Are you telling me Rocky 2, 3, and 4 are good?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, here's
Rocky
real
2
quick.
is solid. I've got the jacket from it. I'm a fan
Hold
of it.
Let's let Jacob. Let me. I know you haven't seen these movies. I could do this as a quick rundown.
Okay.
Ready? Rocky is Rocky. Okay. Rocky 2 is not as good as the first movie, but somehow like it
Bit
it's
of
a
a rehab.
direct continuation of the story, ups
Uh-huh.
the antes. Fans love Rocky 2. Rocky 3 gets a little weird. There's a robot butler. That's the one with Hulk Hogan.
Get it in there of a good movie.
Okay.
Oh wait, but that's the Mr. T one. So it's still like this iconic, like
Sure.
it's almost like a modern franchise where it's like,
We're talking magnetic characters, unforgettable scenes, like really great
Yeah.
performances and iconic
Rocky
imagery.
4, cheesy as hell, but that's the one where
Most
we
popular.
fight Russia. And it was just
Okay. All right. So I know about that one.
right.
Yeah, that's where Rocky's out in the
So,
snow, like pulling stuff. And
Yeah.
Rocky
getting great.
5.
Rocky 5 is about, you'd think it was about Sylvester Stallone's kid who plays his kid in the movie. And you'd think like, oh, cool, he'll be the main character. And like we'll watch a journey with Rocky and his son. But instead, the movie is about Rocky's concussion and how he's bankrupt and how he's obsessed with this other fighter that he finds while he's neglecting his son who's getting beat up in school. He goes and finds this other fighter named Tommy Gunn, who's just like kind of like a meathead and
Bad actor.
a bad actor. It just like none of the things that you want to see Rocky go through, he's going through. Like in the beginning.
When did that come out?
This has to be like 89, 90. You can check
It's like
me on
early 90s, 90,
Yeah.
91. something
early
like that.
90s. The
1990.
song, yeah, the
1990.
song from the movie is "Go For It," which is worth looking up. Honestly, it's just that's kind of
Hold
like
on.
the amount of effort they put into
Sylvester Stallone's actual son plays Rocky's son.
Yeah, and he's like kind of slighted in it. Like it's like a weird like I don't know who thought it would be an interesting story to. Well, here's the thing. Maybe it's interesting to follow Sylvester Stallone as Rocky and like what brain damage and what concussion stuff does like in a quiet story. But this was-
Depressing.
Yeah, that's
Well, wasn't
depressing.
the
Honestly,
I mean, wasn't he already? I remember thinking the first movie, like, oh, this guy's kind of dumb. This guy's kind of an idiot.
yeah,
He's not as dumb by the end. He gets smarter with each. I think he takes a
And
smart
to
serum.
also to credit like
Does he?
the mystique or the how good the first one was that Sylvester Stallone wrote it, and it is like it's like a special performance, and he cares
Yeah.
about it, and you can connect with it. At least I connected with it, but with this one, it's like Rocky's being a very bad dad, and you're watching sad things happen to him, and his kid's got to go to public school now, and he gets his jacket stolen. And Tommy Gunn is just like this flashy piece of shit that Rocky becomes obsessed with. And
he's gonna like
it-
train him to be the new Rocky.
yeah,
And
exactly.
he turns on him.
Then the movie ends with a Tommy and Rocky having a street fight. And
It's not even a boxing match. They just fight in the street.
How many?
Yeah,
how many
and, like,
Rocky
well-
movies are there?
5. Oh wait, no,
Okay.
no. There's so much more. There's actually there's
9.
the Creed movies.
Literally
yeah.
9.
So-
Well,
so there's 5.
That's
there's-
if you count the Creed movies, right?
There's
5
so-
Rockies, and then there's 3 Creeds.
Well, there's
Well-
Rocky 6, which was called Rocky Balboa, which
Okay.
came, but it was like that was like 2005. It was like a 15-year, and that one's people like that's more like a legacy sequel, like kind of
Mhm.
getting like we're gonna kind of forget Rocky 5 and skip over it a little bit.
Okay.
Right, we're not.
And
gonna
then there's
go.
three Creed movies, 2 which are very good, one's not so good. So
But I still hold Rocky 5 in like my category of there's some weird charm to it. There's some very weird moments with his son. Like he's an artist and he does some fun drawings that Rocky comes in and comments on. I don't want to spoil that for anyone. Oh, it's pretty woman.
Good.
But yeah, the last line of the movie I think is Rocky being like, "I'm gonna sue you" or some sort of like a lawsuit joke. It's just bad. It's bad.
The Rocky movies kind of follow the pattern of horror movies where they kept making them, they kept making money, and then eventually one came out and everyone went, ooh.
Well, it's like the Rambo movies. It's like very similar. And I've only seen the first Rambo. I've only seen the first Rocky, and both movies were movies that I never wanted to watch before because I just thought like, not into that kind of thing. Those are just not my thing. But then both movies are not quite what you think they are. And I thought Rambo was great. I thought it was
Rambo's
so
awesome.
good. I thought he was so good in that. Rocky I did not love. But they were both, I was like, oh, I wasn't giving either one of these movies enough credit. They're both
especially
both
if you're like born when we were born, like by the time you're 3 or 4 years old, like Rocky was just, it's like it was everywhere. It was like Freddy Krueger and Rocky and these were just pop culture. They don't have that as much now. Like those are just like pop culture fictional icons.
It's just like when I was a kid, fighting and shooting I didn't care about. It was like Aliens and Terminator, like the supernatural and the scary and the monsters are what got me. I didn't care about a guy fighting another guy in a boxing ring. I was like, that's boring. But you know, as a kid, I also didn't know like, oh, these movies are about a broken man. You know? I didn't, you didn't
like the real monster is the one that lives within. That's kind of a hard concept when you're 3. You're like, can I see a fucking dinosaur, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go on.
Fight a monster.
So my next one, I kind of cheated, but because I combined like 5 movies into one. But you'll understand why.
Do it. Good to go. I know. Hey, can I take a guess?
Yeah. Well, you can.
Oh no, I don't want to steal your thing. You go ahead.
No, it's a genre. It is a genre of movies that struggles big time with sequels, and that is comedy. So when I think about like the worst of the worst, I'm thinking about Caddyshack 2, Joe Dirt 2, Zoolander 2, and soon to be Happy Gilmore 2. I'm just telling you right now, I've seen the writings on the wall.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say all the Alien movies after Aliens.
No. I mean, I'm not enough. Like, I know like people don't like Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, but like I'm not a big enough.
Good,
I'm not a big enough fan to be like, here's what like, but I'm a big enough. No, go.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead. I don't want to get off track.
I was just gonna say like, I'm a big enough fan of Caddyshack and Zoolander to know that those sequels are unwatchable. Now, Caddyshack's a little bit different because it was like the first one was like weirdly successful. They just rushed out a sequel, and Bill Murray's not in it. Dan Aykroyd is. If you've ever seen it, he does a really weird.
I've never seen the sequel to Caddyshack.
I kind of want to because I saw an image of Dan Aykroyd in it. I was like, well, he looks funny.
It is.
Pull up that Rolling Stone article that has a list of bad.
It's literally unwatchable. But when you go into modern, like, guys, listen, Zoolander is one of the funniest movies of all time. Joe Dirt is one of my favorite comedies of all time. When they announced they were making a Joe Dirt 2, I was like, Dorlax and brings up Blues Brothers 2000. Like,
it's on there.
It is hard to whatever makes a comedy work.
I rewatch Blues Brothers 2 more often than I will like to. There's some really good songs in Blues Brothers 2, I think. It's not good, but I think Dan Aykroyd is fun in it.
Well, I got the poster up for Caddyshack 2. I know Chevy Chase is in it, but like I feel like his role wasn't as big. And it's just like obviously the first one is a legendary comedy directed by Harold Ramis and had Rodney Dangerfield and Ted Knight and all these crazy performances and Bill Murray and everything.
Mhm.
But this is just, first of all, the poster is kind of good. The poster is better than any modern poster I've ever seen,
Yeah.
but it's just bad. It's just bad.
Yeah.
And then when I think about other comedy sequels over time, I think about my favorite comedies of all time, and I think about the sequels, and more often than not, it just doesn't work. I mean, I watched Zoolander 2 one time, and I literally was like, "What happened?" It's the
You know,
same people plus
I
Kristen Wiig, and it's awful.
I saw like an interview with what's his
Ben
name,
Stiller.
Zoolander, Ben Stiller, and they were asking him about Zoolander 2, and he was like, "Hey, listen, a lot of people were asking us to make that movie for a long time, and I thought, Zoolander is like a big, it's like a fan favorite, so we thought we were making Zoolander 2, and then we made it, and then it came out, and it just seems like nobody wanted it. So he's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. He was like, I don't know what happened either. Like he knows that it
he went into like a
wasn't very
legit
good.
like
Yeah,
depression. Like,
yeah,
I'm not
Oh, I
saying
believe it. Yeah.
so. Listen, there are comedy sequels that have worked. We talked about Ghostbusters 2, like that, especially over time. Like, I love Ghostbusters 2. Hey, I'll tell you
Well,
what,
what?
Jake, you don't like the first Hangover, but I do like that movie. The second two are awful, like
Yeah,
unwatchable.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, as much as I wanted a Happy Gilmore sequel or want a Billy Madison sequel, like there's a lot of reasons why I just know like there's these are not things that,
yeah.
like, same with
Well,
Step Brothers. Like if they did another one, like you just know it would suck.
yeah. Well, we remember when Dumb and Dumber 2 came out, and we all hated it, and we were all like bummed about it. But then,
Right.
like, not that long ago, Craig, me and you had a conversation about it, and I had rewatched it, and we were like laughing at a lot of stuff from it. We were like, well, there is a lot of funny stuff in that movie, and we were like, wait, were we too harsh on Dumb and Dumber 2?
Yeah.
I remember hating it, but then kind of like warming up to it a little bit, not
A little
like
bit. There's some fun
I,
bits.
I think Dumb and Dumber is maybe the funniest movie in existence. I think it might be
I agree.
the funniest movie ever. So that is a hard movie to make a sequel to. But
Mm.
if I sit here and I think about some of the bits in Dumb and Dumber 2, they're funny to me. So I don't know. It's weird.
Well, also Abby and I watched Kingpin last week and haven't seen that movie in a while. The Fairley Brothers in the 90s, like there's something I don't know if it's the way those movies are shot. There's a little bit of a grit to it. There's a little bit of heart. I just think it's a hard thing to
There's a
replicate.
grossness. They do some
Well,
gross
yeah,
There's
outside.
some pretty gross stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just think sequels in general are really hard for like big comedies. Like I know they wanted to do a sequel to Old School. They wanted to do one for Wedding Crashers, and like it's just for a lot of reasons. A lot of times they fall back on kind of trying to do the same jokes. I think it's one of the reasons why Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls is so good is like they don't just repeat the storyline. They put them in a different setting,
yeah.
different stakes. And Jim Carrey was
Sequels
still
are
like the height of his powers at that time.
sequels just in general are hard.
Tricky.
Everybody, it's like a lot of people just think a sequel needs to be the same. It needs to be more of the same thing. And that is not always true. It's not always a bad thing. I mean, Ghostbusters 2 is like, it's Ghostbusters,
Pretty same. Yeah.
but like, I didn't put these movies on my list, but like I'll mention, like there's 3 Jaws sequels and Jaws 2, which is the one that in plot and they really tried to make it just like Jaws, I think is the worst Jaws sequel. I think Jaws 3 and 4 are more fun to watch because of how insane.
So I'll
they
just
are.
get this. We're already at an hour. I'll just get this out of the way because my last one was
Okay.
Jaws 2. I have it on my
Jaws
list.
2, yeah.
A
Okay.
snooze,
Jaws
snooze.
2's
Jaws 3D. There's some fun in there. Jaws: The Revenge is like, oh cool, the shark's going to the Bahamas to chase Michael Caine. Let's do it.
Mhm.
To me, Jaws 2, what makes it so ineffective is that you have the same setting, the
it's
same
boring.
mayor, the same
Yeah.
town, the same chief, the same family. It sucks. It
Yeah.
is not executed well. It is boring. It is bland. It should have worked. but it didn't work. It was a
Yeah.
bad follow up, and
Mhm.
like to me, Jaws is like the pinnacle of cinema, and Jaws 2 is like a 98% drop. It's hard to
Yeah.
make a movie.
Yeah.
So
All the good
I
stuff
agree.
was
I
left
agree
out.
with that. And like, even though Jaws 3 and 4 are bad movies, when I was a kid, I watched them on repeat. So like, it's hard. It's hard for me to have like a subjective,
Yeah.
feeling about those movies because I had so much fun watching them as a kid. And I still, Jaws 3 and Jaws 4 are movies that I watch every year at least once,
Right.
so
right.
not because I think they're good. It's just because I like them as a kid and they're fun.
And Jaws: The Revenge is a good one to watch in the holiday season because it opens
Exactly.
with
Yeah.
Christmas.
Hey, you know what's
Well,
another
I got,
shit
I got
comedy
one
sequel?
more.
Bad
Yeah.
Santa. Bad
It-
Santa 2.
That's on a lot of
Yeah.
lists. Yeah.
Is that on the list? All right, Jacob, go for it. You got one more.
My number one's Twisters. Twisters is it's like a stab in the back. It feels it felt
Yeah.
personal to me. It felt like somebody ripped away like my dear favorite toy of all time, and they stepped on it and they crushed it and they flushed it down the toilet and they put it through a wood chipper, and then they taped it back together and said, "Here, kid, have fun." Twisters is in every single way. There is not one redeeming quality in that film, and there is nothing that it does that is anywhere near as good or as fun as the original movie. Fuck Twisters.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got it. I mean, there's only one thing I really like about that movie, and that is, I kind of like the song, whatever the "Ain't No Love in Oklahoma." Kind of like the song. Kind of like that
Good.
song.
I'm glad you got that. You can hold on to that.
Yeah, it's
But
for you,
yeah,
dude.
I'll never watch it again. It was almost like I was so disconnected from like watching it, like thinking of that. How's it gonna? It's a sequel. I was just like, whatever. It's a movie. It's
Dude,
just not good. Not good.
I have been thinking of trying to make I don't really know what we would do with it if we could actually even put it on it would just get like demonetized, which who cares? But I thought about taking all the shots of the tornadoes from the first Twister and putting them up to because like the second movie is it's shot really bad and you never get any really good. I've said all this before, but like I feel like they did weird things with the Twisters in the second movie, and I'm like, why do they look worse? Why
Yeah.
do you never really get any? Why are there no wide shots? Like, why is there nothing that shows you the awe and the scope of the tornadoes? I feel like I want to put those scenes next to the old scenes so people can be like, oh, you're right. This does look bad.
The first movie has reverence for nature. It's humbled by cloud.
Yeah.
And
listen,
Glenn
I know I sound like an old man yelling at the clouds because I am.
literally
yelling at the clouds.
That's a good pick. They said they're going to make a third Twister. I don't think they're going to. I think whatever was happening last summer where like people got really excited for that sequel, it's kind of, I don't know. The first one will live on. Abby, any thoughts on Twisters?
I don't think it pleased the original fan base. I think it lacked it lacked decent writing, or like it was very poorly written. And I wanted to point out Dora Laxon's comment. Not one single person that lives here has ever said, "God, I love Oklahoma." Not one. Which I remember that's like in the beginning of it. It's weak writing, and it doesn't deliver like the nerdiness and like the like kind of like this is a group of people that are not they're different from the rest. They're scrappy and they're nerdy and they love something so much that it like makes their whole life is about that. Like that's something about Twister that I always thought was really cool as a kid. And I was like, man, Helen Hunt is so fucking awesome and so hot and so driven. And then Twisters was like felt like a commercial for like a Durango
dude,
or something.
There's not one day of my adult life that I haven't thought about what happened with Bill and Joe, like what their life was like after.
Yeah.
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 I don't even remember the actors or the characters' names for the Sucker movie. So just didn't work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There it is.
There
Hey,
it
before
is.
we go to Abby, do you have any more, Jake, or is that
No, that's it. That's it.
you're
for me.
good? Obviously we could do this like all night. There's a million. Maybe we'll have to do a sequel to this episode. But one thing before I go to Abby to close this out, I got to call this out. Space Jam: A New Legacy is one of the worst fucking movies I've ever
Yeah.
You're right.
seen in my life.
I kind of forgot about that. I mean, it was
and
bad.
and I am so embarrassed for LeBron James, who has spent his entire career in this battle to prove to everybody that he's the greatest basketball player of all time, and it's not Michael Jordan. Which, if I don't even go down that road, that's a ridiculous argument. If you make that argument, you are literally insane. But then, like, imagine if you were trying to separate yourself as a person or an artist or an athlete, and the first movie you ever make is a bad sequel to the Michael Jordan movie. Like, it makes no sense. Why would he do
Which
that?
was bad,
Like,
ostensibly.
Yeah.
And it sucked on every level. First Space Jam rules, produced by Ivan Reitman, starring Bill Murray, Michael Jordan, all the classic Looney Tunes. Shit out of my face. Okay, Abby.
Sure.
you're
I
up.
agree with
You're
Dorlaxon
up.
again, though. Sorry, he said that Shaq should have been in the movie, which that would make sense. And I want to also throw a little shade at Moana too, because it was a really bad sequel, and I really loved the first one. And I watched that movie on the airplane flight to Japan, and I fell asleep during it. And just want to say it's not good. The music wasn't as good. It's missing heart, and yeah. Sorry, Moana. Sorry, Lin-Manuel. But that's not my most egregious
Sorry,
sequel
Lin.
of all time. Sorry, Lin. He's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
he'll
Wait,
be-
he wasn't involved in the sequel. That's
Oh,
one of
he
the reasons
wasn't?
he didn't
Maybe
write the
that's
song.
why it was
Was he
bad.
not?
Maybe I'm
Wait,
actually a
no.
Lin-Manuel.
Was there
Stan.
like a falling out, or could they not afford him, or
I haven't
why did
researched
he
it.
come back?
I'm not. I know he did the Little Mermaid, I think, instead, and they were Moana 2 was supposed to be a TV show, and they repackaged
Wait.
it as a movie.
What do you mean he did the Little Mermaid?
He like wrote the new songs that were included. There were some new songs.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
They were the ones about Alexander Hamilton. They were rap songs too. So just kidding. No Hamilton songs, The Little Mermaid. Just a fun little joke. I
This
was doing.
mermaid daughter. I'm not gonna do it. I'm sorry.
Do it, Ab. Do
I
it.
started. I doesn't like her father. All right.
Oh,
Pretty
because
good.
this mermaid daughter doesn't
Guys,
like her.
please
She
stop.
does like her father. Okay, Abby.
No, dude,
bring
that's
us
a
home.
dick. All
King
right.
Randall. What's his name?
Triton. Dude.
Triton.
Anyway,
Where did I get Randall
we're not talking
from?
about Little Mermaid. We're talking about another Disney movie that is a sequel to some of my favorite movies of all time. I really like the prequels to the movies too.
I know where this
Just
is going.
not a fan of the sequels. And I'm not trying to piss anyone off here, but I was very conflicted by this film, and just talking about it gives me PTSD. So there you have it. The movie I'm referencing is The Last Jedi. And I know no one wants to talk about it. I don't even want to
Yeah, I
finish the
wasn't
show
gonna
on it.
bring it up.
Nobody wants to bring it up because we spent like a good year of our show talking about it. But I had to put it on my list because I was looking through Rolling Stone's list of like the top 50 worst sequels, and number 1 was Rise of Skywalker. And I was like, oh, maybe I agree with that. And I was like, no, I don't fucking agree with that. I have to be honest. So I wrote down this instead, The Last Jedi. It has the reason it's frustrating is not only because I love the source material and characters, but it's got moments that are incredible that I think Jacob would probably keep this out of your list of worst sequels, because like the Luke and Yoda stuff, some of the Octu stuff, the Kylo Ren, the Red Battle.
I think this movie is the worst Star Wars movie
Yeah.
in all existence.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I felt like the writers were like, let's just do the opposite of what what our audience would want while they're watching this. Like, what do you expect to happen? Well,
that's literally what Ryan Johnson did.
Yeah, I know. And that it pissed me off so bad. I feel like it really messed with the formula.
I feel like it's unfair to say Rise of Skywalker is the worst, because most of the problems with Rise of Skywalker exist
Mhm.
because of The Last Jedi.
Jedi fucked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never forget
Yeah,
that
I
when
mean, I don't have to. Mm.
Mark Hamill read the script, he called Ryan Johnson on the phone. Actually, he called him on his Star Wars comtech, probably, and he said, "Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with every decision you've made," which is true. But then he was a professional, and he went and I think Mark Hamill's he does the best he can do in that movie with some questionable source material. And I've said this a million times on our podcast. I don't have any problem with Luke becoming a bitter hermit because after
I
all,
mean,
that is the Jedi way. That's what they
that's
do.
not a problem. That wasn't a problem for me either.
I don't have the Luke
I don't want to get
Skywalker.
into like a huge,
No,
deep
hour
discussion.
two.
We don't
Let's
need
take,
to. I'll do a quick rundown
no,
of things I don't
let's
like.
take 5 and then we'll do an hour on this.
We're not. Yeah.
We're not
Go
going
for
to.
it,
I don't
Abby.
like when Luke tosses the lightsaber in the beginning.
Bad.
Don't like how Luke toys with Rey and is evasive about teaching her the Force.
Bad.
Hate Canto Bite.
It's really
Didn't
bad.
like Rose Tico and Finn's weird side quest and didn't believe their romance. And I know that yeah, I don't even need to go deep into that. It just
Yeah,
was not
go
believable.
deep. This
Did
is
you
a podcast.
did you guys
Well,
see
Kelly Tran's come out since the movie and said like, "Hey, that was a weird thing for me too because I am gay and that was like a weird role for me to play like romantically and that's one of the reasons it didn't work. I wasn't really being myself." So
There you
I
go.
can understand that.
What were you gonna say, Jake?
I was just gonna say, did you see recently there was some stuff about John Boyega came out and said that they did some takes where he straight up tells Ray he's a Jedi, and they kind of cut that because you know how in Rise of Skywalker the whole movie he's like, oh, I got something to tell you,
Right.
and you're like, well,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he never tells her. There was he said that they filmed him straight up being like, I think I'm a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
He also said he hated the Kylo Ren and Rey stuff. I mean, let's face it, John. I listen. I like The Force Awakens a lot. We've talked about it a million times. I think it's
Same.
great. I think they really set up some really interesting stories for Rey and Finn. And as Abby's pointing out, Last Jedi went in a lot of weird directions. And I don't care, dude. Go watch Return of the Jedi. Go watch Empire Strikes Back. Go watch Force Awakens. They're flat out better fucking movies. Don't give me any of this Space Jam legacy, LeBron
Force
James
Awakens is
shit.
great.
Force Awakens
Love
rules.
The Force Awakens. Again, ties back to the thing I said in the beginning where if the original film was really impactful and a huge part of my life, then I have higher expectations for the returns and am more disappointed when it doesn't meet my expectations. This movie knocked the wind out of me and just robbed me of my hope. I really hated Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Didn't also Holdo. I'm just bumming everyone out at this point. So
No.
last thing,
First of
Broom
all-
Boy. Enough said. That Broom Boy is my least favorite part at the end. Pointless character that's just like, oh, here we're gonna end our movie on this guy.
Well, here, not no spoilers, no Andor spoilers, but if you want to feel strong about the rebellion and resisting oppression, watch Andor. If you want to feel like maybe I'll take the side of the First Order, watch The Last Jedi. So it's a completely different. There's some mistakes that were made. I'll never forget. It always takes me. I was in denial about The Last Jedi for a long time. I'll never forget. And one thing I want to credit Jacob. You will always give your opinion. You will not be blinded by nostalgia or I really wanted to like this. Like you will straight up tell us what you thought. I've always respected you for that. I'll never forget the night Last Jedi came out and like it was midnight and hadn't heard from Jake yet. I was like, what's going on? He was supposed to call hours ago. I'm very worried. And then you called and I said, hey man, what's up? And you go, well, that wasn't my favorite Star Wars movie. I'll tell you that. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
What happened? It was just a weird time. And I know we had gone to Star Wars Celebration. We were so hyped. Force Awakens was so fun. And Abby, I completely agree with your take. I have a lot of problems with that movie. I have a lot of problems with Rise of Skywalker. It's disappointing. And now it's like cleanup aisle Star Wars. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's tough. Abby, did you have any other honorable mentions you wanted to mention before we
No, I gave a shot to Moana 2 as being not not good. I don't think I want to take down any other sequels at this point. I think I've gotten myself into a bit of a funk talking about that movie.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
Hey, can
I'm
I?
going to watch the George Romero.
nobody brought up
trilogy.
Wonder Woman 1984, which is
That was on my list,
Well-
but I could not access a single memory from it.
I
couldn't.
mean,
I was like,
I saw that was on the big list, but I was like, well,
Yeah.
I think the first Wonder Woman also sucks.
Also
So
pretty
if
bad.
the first movie's not good, it doesn't matter if the sequel is bad. Hey, do you guys want?
Yeah.
Can we like take? Are you guys good for like 10 minutes to change the subject?
yeah,
fine.
Did you guys watch the Long Walk trailer?
yeah,
It looks great.
yeah, it does.
I was very nervous about it because the guy, and I said this before the trailer came out, I was very nervous because the guy who's directing, can't remember his name, but he directed a couple of the Hunger Games movies. And even though I haven't seen all of those, they're very like kind of teen oriented kid
Mhm.
drama type,
Young
like
adult.
young adult. And like there's nothing wrong with that, but I was scared that The Long Walk, which is about teenagers, would turn into like a less serious, less brutal thing than the book is. But it does look like it looks pretty similar to the book. It looks pretty rough.
Wait. Yeah.
It looks like they've kind of had to age up the kids. Like I think the kids are like 14 in the book. They're not all the same age, but I think they're a bit younger. I don't know if Cooper Hoffman can play 14.
Right.
I don't know how old
Well,
he's supposed to be.
Even that kid who played Luke Skywalker looks a little older in this movie. Real quick for those sorry, that was just a fun joke for me. Hi chat. Before we
I was
get
like,
into
what is he
this,
talking about?
Mark Hamill.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
He's in
Got
the
it.
movie.
What are you
Got
talking
it.
about?
Okay, here we go. For those of you who don't know, The Long Walk, Stephen King novel written under was it the Richard Bachman years? What year?
Yes.
Do we know what year that was? He wrote it.
That's when it.
Why did
That's
he
when
do
it was
that?
released. That's when it was
Abby?
released. Stephen King.
Jacob.
Sorry, you're on a
You're-
delay, hun.
Yeah, you're on a delay, Craig. You're freezing and shit.
Yeah, that's why
Mhm.
we're not responding as well.
Yeah. You seem good. You seem good now. Say something.
Hi, Mark
You're on a-
Hamill was
you're
played
on a
by
big
Luke
delay.
Skywalker.
You're on a major
Okay,
delay.
you guys keep talking. You guys keep talking. I'll shut the
Yes,
fuck up.
it was Stephen King wrote this book under his pen name Richard Bachman because it is. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure because it's extremely disturbing material, and he almost didn't want to I don't know, maybe he didn't want to be associated with it. Maybe
It was Well, it was released under Richard Bachman, but I think he wrote this when he was like 18. I think this was one of the
Oh,
first
yeah?
books he ever actually wrote. But it didn't get. But it was published under Richard Bachman. And it is one of a lot of the Richard Bachman books are kind of silly, and they're like Tales from the Crypt-esque, like thinner stuff like that. But this was the one it's kind of like the standout. A lot of people really like this book. Have you read this book, Abby?
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's great. It's really bleak. It's dark. It is very good. I'm nervous that they might change the ending. I hope they do not. But other than that, it looks like pretty faithful. I'm excited to see this. I hope it's good. I'm excited that we're getting some Stephen King adaptations that look, good and faithful, and that are different. We're not just getting like another version of Pet Sematary or I know there's like the 5th adaptation of Carrie is happening soon for TV. So I like seeing some of these other lesser known books getting made.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it. That it's a chilling, dark story, but there's just like any Stephen King, there's like hope and conversations and meaningful interactions with characters that I really liked.
Yeah,
Looking forward to it.
Am I back?
Yeah, I think you're back, Craig.
We have to.
Nice.
We make you go away during the Stephen King talk.
I know that. I'm only here for the Space Jam talk. Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Mark Hamill was a little hesitant to do it because the material's so bleak. I think he said his son was like, "No, you have to do this." I'm excited about it. I mean, Stephen King has written some of the most incredibly impactful stories and narratives of like kind of like Steven Spielberg, like of a generation.
Mhm.
And I think in recent years, maybe like the past 10 years, it feels like people are starting to figure out how to adapt these a little bit better. I mean, there's a lot of not great, like made for TV type adaptations of a lot of Stephen King
But
work.
there's Mike Flanagan.
But now we got Flanagan.
We got Flanagan now.
We got Life of Chuck. We got
have a
Flanagan.
Flanagan.
So yeah, that'll be good. We'll definitely be covering that when it comes out.
Mhm.
I thought tonight was pretty fun. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We did have one super chat earlier. I have to acknowledge from Video Power Gaming. He said the everything pretzel almost terminated Craig. Which if we would have highlighted that when he said it, it would have been
Even
hours
funnier.
ago. People are like, what happened with the everything pretzel? What was it? We thank that. Thank you for that.
It's like, come with me if you want to live.
Come with me if you want to live. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make sequels, but I'm always going to get excited about them. I mean, this year, well, I guess Superman's not a sequel. It's like the 5th new version of Superman, but there's a Superman trailer coming this week. But yeah, well, I'll if it's characters I love, I'm always going to be interested. I was trying to rack my brain if there was any movies that I still would love to see a sequel of. I don't know. I think time has passed by most of the ones I would have really wanted.
Yeah,
I know that they're teasing a possible Speed 3 with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
She was on all the bad lists.
Who was it? David Spade the other day was on a podcast that was talking about 2 years ago. He was pitched a Tommy Boy sequel about their kids going on a sales trip. I'm like, who the fuck would want to see that?
Dude, that's like Son of the Mask. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Jamie Kennedy. Nobody wants that.
Mhm.
But hey, listen, we'll all be in
Titanic
line.
2, AJ.
First day for Scream 7 next February.
Ugh,
We'll be cheering them on.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Mhm.
Jacob, final word. Anything else?
No, just make better sequels. There you go.
Do it. We'll do it.
Let us do one.
Let us do one.
Let's do one. There's got to be one you'd let us
What?
do.
I want to do one about Bob too. That's it's impossible, unmakeable. But God, I wish there was one.
I wish they would make it. I wish Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray right now would make
I don't know
What
if they'd
About
survive
Bob
it. Yeah,
No, dude.
but I'd be there to watch.
I think they would murder each other.
That's
It'd be great.
Like,
all right.
hold on, wait.
Well-
Well, let's pitch What About Bob 2. What if it
It
opens?
ends with a street fight like Rocky 5. Sorry.
But what if it opens and they're married to each other?
Yep. Obviously.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
my
on
God,
that.
like an odd couple situation. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Down for it.
I mean, they kind of set up. What about Bob? Like, if they would have done a sequel within a couple of years where Bob's the therapist and
And he has a
Leo
best-selling
has like
book.
a court order to see him, but then like
Yeah.
halfway through the movie, they
See,
revert back.
Bob's married to Faye.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Leo's sister. He's
Yeah.
with everybody.
Yeah.
Lily.
Lily.
You're not gonna marry Bob, Faye. I think that would have been really cool. Listen. I was thinking about Patrick Swayze last Thursday, as I do every Thursday. It's a thing I do. This guy Patrick Swayze made this run of movies where he did Dirty Dancing and Ghost and Roadhouse and Point Break, and like all 4 of those could have gotten sequels.
Yeah.
I would have, but they didn't, and they're just like these beautiful standalone movies. They've tried to remake, I think, all of those. I'm surprised they haven't tried to remake Ghost yet. But, anyways,
Mhm.
what about Bob 2? Coming soon. You heard it here.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I think we've said everything we can say about the
That's it.
subject.
Done it.
Let's get out of here.
Street
We
fight.
did it. All right, everybody. Join us next week for more Yes Have Some podcasts. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram and X at YHS Podcasts, and stay tuned to our Patreon for updates on things that we might be planning, things going on in the world of YHS. You can get bonus audio every week. We're bringing back Extreme Toy Anxiety. Maybe we'll take one of these bad sequels and do like a re-examination. Like, were we wrong about Son of the Mask?
Don't
Probably
make me
not.
watch that.
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not. But
Probably not.
hey, listen, I've changed my mind on movies before. I could go full in on why Son of the Mask is actually better than the original. That'll be my YouTube video.
Aren't we going to
Um,
talk about good sequels next? Because I liked that idea.
We are going to talk about good sequels.
Cool.
Okay.
Abby's also going to bring up Rocky 5 on that. She's
Great
got us
sequel.
involved.
Go for it. Go for it. That's the song.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hard out. Bye.
Bye.